Okay, so travel. It's exciting, right? But let's be real, it can also bring up some fears, especially going solo or, somewhere totally unfamiliar.
Definitely. And you sent over quite the mix of sources, blogs, official guides, government warnings, even insurance docs, and a Reddit thread, all tackling that feeling of risk.
Exactly. We saw everything from solo female safety tips to navigating, well, let's just say less stable regions.
And the perspectives vary, which is interesting. You've got stark official warnings versus personal stories saying, hey, wasn't that bad if you're careful.
Right. So, our mission today, let's dive into all this material. We want to pull out the really crucial stuff, maybe some surprising facts to help you feel well prepared and maybe a bit more empowered for your next adventure.
It's about sorting the signal from the noise, really. Finding what actually helps you make safer choices.
Okay, let's unpack it. The absolute foundation, it seems, across almost everything we read. Research, like before you even book.
Yeah, thorough research. And not just the tourist highlights. We're talking cultural norms, dress codes, local customs. What scams are common there specifically?
Uh-huh. And areas to avoid. What's the current political situation? Any recent unrest? Even health stuff, like specific diseases or, weather risks? One source mentioned chikungunya and its really nasty joint pain.
And don't rely on just one source.
Mm-hmm.
Government advisories like the U.S. State Department's Level 4 Do Not Travel list, they mention places like Syria, Haiti, certain parts of Mexico, Colombia. Those are serious warnings about severe dangers, crime, conflict, kidnapping risks.
You have to pay attention to those.
Absolutely. But one source did raise a point that sometimes these can be, let's say, overly cautious or perhaps influenced by political factors. So the advice was to balance official warnings with other info forums, recent travel blogs, local news if you can access it.
That makes a lot of sense. Get a rounded picture. Oh, and a really practical tip was enrolling in something like STEPA, the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, for U.S. citizens anyway.
Right. Other countries often have similar systems. It just helps the embassy find you or assess if there's a big emergency. Simple step.
Yeah, easy win. Documents, too. Make copies of your passport. Store them electronically, cloud, email them to family, and have physical copies separate from the actual passport.
And keep that real passport locked up, safe where you're staying. Carry a copy for ID if that works locally. One blogger really emphasized that.
Okay, so research done, you've landed. Now it's about what you do on the ground. Situational awareness comes up again and again.
It does. Apparently, one source cited research suggesting criminals pick targets incredibly fast, like in 7 seconds.
Wow, 7 seconds.
Yeah. And looking aware, not lost, or constantly staring at your phone can genuinely make them pass you by. Pay attention to people, cars, just the general vibe.
Walk confidently too, right? Even if you're nervous inside, head up, purposeful stride. Fake it till you make it, basically.
Exactly. And use your phone for safety. Offline maps are great. Translation apps, dropping a pin for folks back home. But maybe step into a shop or cafe to check directions rather than standing on a corner looking vulnerable. A cheap backup phone was another suggestion.
Good idea. And the biggest thing, maybe, trust your gut.
Every single personal account stressed this. If a person, a place, a situation just feels off, trust that feeling. Don't worry about being rude. Get out of there.
Better safe than sorry, always. Okay, specific risks. Crime, petty theft, snatch and grabs in crowded places.
Keep your bag in front. Maybe distribute cash and cards so they're not all in one wallet. Don't flash expensive jewelry or electronics. Blend in a bit.
Nighttime travel. Be extra cautious. Avoid walking alone if you can. Use taxis or ride-sharing. Uber was mentioned, but check if it's legit and safe where you are. Look for ones with tracking features.
And trying to arrive in a new city during daylight hours is generally a good move. It just gives you time to get your bearings.
Makes sense. What about health risks beyond the big diseases?
Well, basic stuff like traveler's diarrhea, e-tech was mentioned, is super common. Be careful with food and water sources. And yeah, those mosquito-borne things like chikungunya are a real concern in certain regions like Latin America and the Caribbean.
So talk to a doctor before you go about shots, meds, and know your own limits, altitude, swimming ability, general fitness.
Definitely. Now, for those venturing into genuinely high-risk or unstable areas, the advice was pretty consistent. Low profile is key. Dress modestly. Avoid discussing sensitive topics like politics publicly. Don't advertise where you're staying. Avoid demonstrations or large gatherings. And crucially, have an emergency plan. Know where your embassy is. Maybe identify international hotels as potential safe havens.
Okay, that's heavy stuff. What about support?
Yeah, especially for solo female travelers, connecting with other women, maybe in hostels through online groups beforehand, was highlighted as really valuable for sharing info and just, mutual support.
And the big one, insurance.
Non-negotiable, according to pretty much all sources. Your standard travel insurance is great for covering unexpected medical bills, maybe theft, but, and this is a big go-board here, but it often won't cover you for high-risk activities like mountaineering or if you travel to a country on your government's do not travel list.
Right. Those exclusions are critical to read.
Totally. That's where specialized providers come in. Global Rescue was mentioned as one example. They handle things standard insurance doesn't, like complex medical evacuations, security extractions, even dealing with things like upfront helicopter deposits needed in some remote places.
Sounds expensive, but potentially life-saving.
Exactly. Some policies might even offer cancel for any reason, clauses or specific kidnap and ransom coverage, though obviously that's for very specific circumstances. The point is, don't skip insurance and read the fine print.
So, putting it all together, it seems like this informed preparation isn't about becoming paranoid. It's about making conscious choices, right? Understanding the actual documented risks for where you are going.
Spot on. It's about equipping yourself to handle the unexpected. And your personal profile matters too. Your travel experience, your health, gender, it all plays into how you perceive and manage risk in a specific destination.
And the sources really emphasize that while bad things can happen, taking these kinds of precautions significantly tips the odds in your favor. Lots of surprising details, too, like that 7-second targeting window or how just being polite and aware can be a deterrent.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Consider this.
Yeah.
Are the greatest risks those really dramatic, headline-grabbing dangers that are statistically quite unlikely for most travelers? Or are they found in those small, everyday moments on the road where just a bit more awareness, a bit more preparation could prevent a problem before it even starts?